Alrighty then. I'm going to be changing the information on the stream as we go along. However, please. I'll read that in a minute. But yeah, so if we. I'll be changing the information on the Node CG in a moment. And then, whilst you're basically doing your introductions and stuff. So at the moment it does say 110 star, but I know you're doing 151 star instead.
Yeah.
But in any case, please introduce yourself, introduce the run, give me a countdown for the timer, and we'll get started.
Alrighty, I'll start local recording. Oh, hi, hey everybody. So, sorry for the delay, but we were running into some issues. So, I was going to do 110 star, but due to scheduling conflicts, I am now doing 151 star. We are going to be collecting all of the stars in this wonderful ROM hack. For those who don't know, Mario 74 is one of the OG ROM hacks, so to speak. It was released in 2011 by Logmalord. And it's a little bit, we're going to do some classic ROM hack gaming action. So if we're ready for a countdown, let's just get this going in 3, 2, 1, go. Alright. So, first thing I should mention about this hack is that the camera is laughably bad. For most of the, since this was developed in the early stages of SM64 ROM hacking, most levels don't really work well with the standard Latitude cam, so you kind of have to be in Mario cam the entire time, which is fine. It's not a huge deal. But even then, the camera still has a few pitfalls. So, I guess that a good way to introduce this ROM hack is it's one of the first ROM hacks to feature fully original levels. There were ROM hacks that had previously done this, to my knowledge, but this is kind of like the first full-length one. Alright, I'm gonna be doing the first 100 coin star. So, for those who are wondering what 110 star was, it's basically the equivalent of 70 star in this hack, where you have to beat the game without skipping any start or requirements. So, of the 151 stars, you're intended to collect 110 of them, which is a lot. The main difference between these categories is mostly just coin collecting missions. By the way, this is a cool piece of tech. If you take a crazy box into water, it becomes inert, and so you're actually supposed to use a metal cap to hit that switch in order to get up there. And here I'm going to be doing another ceiling down warp, so if you've seen speedruns of the original Mario 64, you might be familiar with this tech. And if you've seen Pan and Coke's video on invisible walls, you may know that in water, ceiling hitboxes move you downward, so basically I just clip through the floor there and enter the ceiling hitbox at the cave, and it just down warps me into the cave, and I'm going to do that again here, and down warp into this cave. And that just kind of streamlines routing a little bit. I missed that red coin, awesome. Yeah, a lot of swimming for a lot of the coin collecting missions in this game are quite long, so most of them aren't in 110 star. But in 151 star, we get to see all of them in their true glory. Almost done with this one, though. Here's another bit of tech you may have seen in speedruns of the original game. You can just travel up really steep slopes underwater like that. Alright. Hopefully I don't miss any of these blue coins. It would be very embarrassing if I did. I should probably go ahead and mention that I'm actually playing on keyboard. And in case anybody is wondering how the heck is it possible to speedrun this game on keyboard, the current world record in this category is on keyboard. Shoutouts to SR, a goated SM64 and ROM hack runner, who now specializes in Toho and Trackmania. Alright. So I'm gonna do that crazy box strat again because there's a star up there. Nice. That's actually a bit more tricky than it may seem. You kind of have to go at an awkward angle in order for that to work. So because this is in, like, the early stages of ROM hacking, there's not a whole lot of, like, new mechanics. So a lot of the level design is just get to a certain part of the stage and there's a star rewarding you for your efforts. So this hack places a heavy emphasis on platforming, which is quite nice, in my opinion. It leads to a lot of really interesting strats. Alright. For the last 2 stars, I'm going to be utilizing those ceiling down warps again. So as a quick explanation for why those clips usually use punches, basically it's because normally when you slam into a slope like that underwater, Mario's ankle kind of rotates to match so that his stomach is parallel to the floor. But if you are in the underwater grab action, then that angle switch doesn't happen. And you need to be moving straight into the floor in order to clip through it. But in that case, you don't even really need to do that. Okay, so that's a 0 abyss done. Aside from the 100 coin star, that level's actually really fast. Alright. Another thing I should mention is, this is actually not the original version of this hack. I think the proper way to describe this version is version 1.5. It is known as the fixed warps version. So in the original version of this hack created by Lugmalord, every single overworld only had 1 spawn point for exiting from every course. Which greatly increased his travel time, obviously. This version of the hack, which was, I believe, in part designed by SM64 Pi, actually adds unique warps for every single course, so it greatly improves the pacing of the run. It just makes it more interesting overall. I don't think it's a big stretch to say that for 151 star, it probably saves on the order of like 20 minutes. Okay. So, again, we got another pretty simple level here. It has the title screen music for some reason. This hack doesn't have too much custom music, but it does have some. Like, you've probably noticed the overworld music is the flip side theme from Super Paper Mario. Alright, this is a very scary section of the star here. Alright, that fly guy did not troll me. Nice. Ah! I don't think I'm gonna be landing here. Nope. Ah, that's fine. I'm just gonna have to climb back up. It's not gonna be a huge time loss. I should be able to collect the star without falling off. Yep. This is a very difficult 100 coin star to do fast. There's a lot of RNG and a lot of tough jumps you have to make. So it's kind of understandable. Okay. And again, the non-coin collecting missions here are very, very fast. That's generally the story of this hack. It's still a relatively fast-paced speedrun overall. Especially when it comes to, like, stars per minute. This hack also places a bit of an emphasis on tough enemy placement, so sometimes you get Chuckyas and Kivos in very perilous locations. Of course, this hack's eventual sequel, Super Mario 74 Extreme Edition, would go even more off the deep end with making this a difficulty hack, but as far as difficulty goes, this hack is definitely a step up from the original Mario 64, but nowhere near the level of, like, a full-on extreme hack. Trust me, as difficult as some of this may look, trust me, it can be a lot worse. And again, if you need an example of that, look no further than the Extreme Edition, which at this point has actually become one of the easier extreme hacks. Yeah, there's not going to be too much to say about a lot of these stars. I'll try to find stuff to talk about, hopefully. Another thing this hack likes utilizing is these purple switches that make boxes appear that you have to cross on a timer. Again, since there's not a whole lot in terms of new mechanics with this hack, Logmalord had to make do with what he could use, and so using those block switches can make the levels a bit more interesting, if not more difficult. Yeah, like I said, this is a bit of an older ROM hack at this point, being, you know, almost 15 years old at this point. But I'd say it still holds up pretty well. It's really good for casual players. Alright, now I'm gonna go to the first Bowser level. Bowser's Badlands Battlefield. Very interesting name choice. And I'm gonna start by collecting red coins. Unfortunately, in this hack, red coins will always take you out of the level, even in Bowser stages. Okay. This is not how you're intended to do this part. You're supposed to actually use a cannon to get up here, and in fact, I will be opening the cannon in a little bit. But for routing, that just happens to be more convenient. Nice. Can't say that's ever happened before. I was trying to do a kick there, but I was too fast, so I ended up doing a jump dive instead. Getting a bit of lag here. Luckily, I have an in-game timer and live split that removes lag frames. So, the official final time of this run will be different than the final time you see on stream, most likely, but, you know, real time is always good, too. So, there are a couple of handicaps to playing on keyboard, and one of them is aiming cannons. Unless you have, like, special modifier keys, since I'm not using analog control, anytime I press a direction down on the arrow keys, which for me would be the control stick, it's as if I'm tilting the stick down all the way. So doing micro adjustments, such as for aiming cannons, is not exactly possible most of the time. Thankfully, most of the cannon shots in this hack are actually quite generous. Okay, and again, you're not supposed to do that, but it is slightly faster for that star at least. And the main reason why this hack has so many more stars than the original Mario 64 is just because the secret courses have a lot more stars added to them. For example, this first Bowser level has 4, and again, they all take you out of the level. And here we get our one of the first examples of Lugmalord being quite sneaky with his star placement. He likes to hide stars in places like that, where it would probably be tough finding that as a casual player. And I know that Mario is doing the key animation after exiting that level. He does not actually have the key. I actually have to fight Bowser to get that. That's just the default animation Mario uses whenever he exits that level, or whenever he exits a Bowser stage. So do not be thrown off by that. Oh, nice. I probably have to wait for the blocks I probably have to wait for this timer to restart, so yeah, I'm just gonna do that. There we go. The game, like, ate my jump before. The first Bowser fight is mostly the same, but the bombs are now a lot higher. So, they're... Okay. So, right there I did a interesting piece of tech, and I actually somehow missed that. I think I was too far away. So, Pan and Koek actually has a short about this, but basically grabbing Bowser in this game is really weird. If you touch his tail and then are standing close enough to him, you can actually grab him, assuming you're facing the right... If you touch Bowser's tail and you're close enough to him and facing within a certain angle range relative to Bowser, you don't actually have to be touching his tail in order to grab him. It's really weird. You don't really see that used in the original SM64 that often, but it can be useful in ROM hacks to help move Bowser a bit closer to where you want him to be. Alright, so now I'm going to be moving on to the second overworld. So, this overworld stage is actually a secret course into the skies, hence why it has a coin counter visible, whereas the normal overworld level wouldn't be. And it also just has a bunch of stars hidden in it. And all of these stars take you out of the level, only for you to just respawn right back in it. So routing here is actually kind of fun. Okay, I wall-kicked off the wrong wall there. So I'm not going to be getting every star out here right away. I'm only going to be getting 3 of them. There's another case of a star that would probably be very difficult for casual to find, if you don't already know where it is. Not too bad. Yeah, pretty simple segment there. There are more stars in this overworld level, but I'll save those for later. For now, we're gonna get some secret courses out of the way. Starting with the Lava Switch of Eruption, which is just a fancy name for the Wing Cap course. So, I have to open the cannon here for the red coin star. It is actually possible to skip that cannon, but I don't know that strat, and it's really difficult, so I'm just not gonna bother with it. And there's a tech skip, works just like it does in the original game. This stage has 3 stars, one of them being red coins. This star is kind of tricky to get with the strat I'm using. Okay, I almost bonked there. If you bonk when attempting to fly into that alcove, you're just dead. Alright. Now I'm gonna do red coins. I have to get to the highest tower, so to do that, I'm gonna be using this higher up cannon here. then it is possible to collect all of the remaining red coins in one flight, but controlling Mario at high speeds while flying is really hard with keyboard controls. So, I opt to split this up into multiple different flights. Which is a little bit slower, but for my sake, it's better for my sake. Alright, I might bonk here. Alright, we're good. Pretty simple level. At least for this hack standards. Alright, time for a jump that I will almost certainly fail. Wow, I actually got it. Alright. Here's the Vanish Cap course, aka Dust Switch of Identity. Lugmalord made some very interesting choices when naming some of these levels. And there's another star that I'm sure would be an absolute thrill to try and find by yourself. There are 6 stars in here. And for this star, that thin pathway that you would normally have to cross looks extremely terrible, right? Oh, hey, look, a fly guy. Yeah, you can just skip all of that. That's actually required for one of this game's medal challenges. That's a whole other can of worms that's not worth getting into. Alright. So, I'm gonna get red coins now. Red coins are kinda, as is commonly the case with this hack, red coins in this level are kind of spread all around. This is a pretty risky jump right here. Yes. Depth perception is not your friend for that jump. And now we have the, quite bizarre arrangement of the Song of Storms. The music in this level is really broken. If you do, like, anything that adjusts the volume of the music, it just goes completely silent, like going into first-person mode or watching a cutscene. So after this star cutscene, the music is just gonna go completely mute. It's really weird. And since I'm sure some of you are probably wondering by now, that weird animation Mario does whenever I exit a course, that is in the original game. You just normally can't see it because it's obscured by a painting. But yeah, that's just the default pose for Mario whenever there's no assigned animation value for him. But it is kind of... It does bear a resemblance to the Bean Mario that you may be familiar with from cartridge tilting. There's 2 stars at the top of the level here. And now for another excellent example of this game's stellar camera work. There's really nothing you can do to make the camera behave any better here. So it just kind of turns on its own and gets stuck on the walls all the time. You just kind of have to learn to adapt to the camera's weirdness in this hack. That was pretty solid overall. Also, the dialogue in this game is quite hilarious. I'm skipping through most of it, obviously, but if you're going to play this hack by yourself, I would definitely recommend reading most of the dialogue. Some of it just openly mocks the player. Okay, I wasn't intending to do this star first, but yeah, there's a big shortcut for this slide. So this is the frozen slide. It's very, very slippery, as you can imagine. I just didn't press A there, that's cool. Yeah, it does have a red coin star. This is one of those stars that became fast enough for 110 star only in the fixed warps version of this hack, because the travel time to Frozen Slide would be way too long to justify getting this star otherwise. And obviously in 151 star you have to collect every star regardless. Alright. So that's a strat I normally don't attempt in runs. If you get it, it saves like 8 seconds, but it's really, really precise. I'm not gonna go for it again. I'm pretty sure the jump for that is, if it's not frame perfect, it's close to it. But for the sake of the marathon, I figured I might as well go for it. So I'm just gonna do that star the normal way now. Thankfully, you can back it up with that other star that I got. So yeah, as you can see, it's not a very long star if you don't do that strat, but... would have been cool if I got it, but at least I was able to back it up without dying. Also, there's a star on top of this hut, so... might as well grab that while I'm here. So, we're gonna clear out a couple more main courses now, starting with System of a Town. Very predictably, this is a town-esque level. Also, I apologize for how crappy this MIDI version of the Bob on Battlefield music is, because it's present in a lot of stages in this hack. I gotta do an arch wall kick here to get on top of this house. Nice, I just messed it up. Awesome. Yeah, the collision on some of these houses is quite jank. There we go. Case in point, you can just kind of ledge grab the side of this house even though it's sloped. And this is not how you're intended to get up here, and I just screwed that up. Awesome. Luckily, there's a backup. There we go. So yeah, that is not how you're intended to get up here. You're supposed to go through the sewer system. But the sewer system in this stage is completely optional. Unless you're going for all the coins, which is only relevant in the metal challenges. And even then, you only have to swim through like a tiny sector of it. You're also going to be seeing me use the zoomed-in Mario Cam a lot, mostly whenever I go into small, like, caves or corridors, because regular Mario Cam does not like being inside of these really, really small structures. Rough start to that star, but at least everything else was somewhat smooth. That wasn't really relevant to what just happened, but I guess I'll go ahead and mention another limitation of keyboard is that I really only have access to the 8 cardinal directions. So getting specific angles can be a bit of a challenge. But there are ways around that. And for this hack, it's usually not that big of a deal. Also, again, that is not how you're intended to get that star. Again, I just skipped the sewer entirely. I'm actually going to be doing it again for a completely different star. This is actually a pretty difficult strat to learn. So I can get onto these slopes, and there just isn't an invisible wall here to prevent you from going over the slope here, so you can access this part of the level. And that saves a very big chunk of time. I think it's probably close to like 20 seconds, if not more. Another star, where have fun finding that on your own. I guess in that case it's a little bit more obvious, because if you go into that house, you'll see the like brown blocks, and you can probably guess that you'd be able to break one of those.
Here we go!
Here's another example of amazing collision on these houses. Just kind of casually go through the wall there.
Here we go!
And yeah, that level's already done. On to the next one. The Haunted Factory. And here we've got some good old frantic factory music. I'm guessing Logmalord was a very big Rare fan. There are mysterious objects in this hack, and a lot of them are just references to the Banjo-Kazooie games, and Rareware as a whole. So, that's just a little side quest that's not really relevant to this run. Yeah. So, Haunted Factory is kind of just more of the same, except it's got the spooky atmosphere to it. Got a tricky jump to do here. Alright, that's a jump where you don't want to get a first frame wall kick, because otherwise you just shoot out too far away from the star box and then you just die. So you kind of have to delay that wall kick a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to do coin collecting. Red coins in this level, again, are very, very spread out. And navigating this course can be a little bit tedious at times. The actual 100 coin star, however, can be quite trivialized, thankfully. You'll see what I mean in just a little bit. Nice blind jump there without... again, with keyboard controls, so it's kind of hard to make tiny adjustments and get the right angle sometimes. Okay, so there's just a hidden little room here. You're supposed to use the shell to get in here, but that's optional. And it just leads to a blue coin switch that gives you like 80 blue coins. So, yeah, this actually is one of the fastest 100 coin stars to get in the entire game. You can legitimately get it in like under 30 seconds. It's also, this course also has 251 coins in total, which is way more than any levels in the original SM64 had. And amazingly, it's actually not the level with the most coins. That honor goes to course 13, which you'll see far later down the line. It's actually one of the last courses I do in the run.
Here we go!
Right, there's 2 stars that require climbing all the way up to the top of the factory, but thankfully that process is also pretty quick. I'm amazed that that was a good enough angle to wall kick.
Here we go!
Time to do that again. One nice thing I do like about this hack is that it manages to maintain, at least for most levels, it has sort of the open world feel that the original SM64 had, where levels are kind of spread out. There's not a whole lot of linearity in the level design, for the most part. There are some courses like not Drowned Factory, like a Haunted Factory are a bit more linear in design. But it still leaves a lot of room open for exploration, which I quite like. And that's it for that course.
Here we go!
So there are 2 more stars in this overworld level, and I'm gonna go ahead and get both of them. You might have seen this one earlier. It's just on top of the slope here.
Here we go!
And now that I have 50 stars, I have enough to open this star door over here. So this star door actually leads to the second Bowser level, but not just that. There's a little alcove here that just contains another star. Again, how are you supposed to find that on your own? I have no idea.
Here we go!
But it's there. So now it's time for Bowser's Aquatic Castle. This is not intended, by the way. So what I just did there is a technique known as frame walking. Basically, by rapidly switching between forward and neutral on the control stick, you can kind of walk up steep slopes like that. It's very difficult to do on a regular control stick, but on keyboard it's basically free, because all you have to do is just mash the up direction. So I'm actually gonna do that again here. Yeah, sometimes you kind of get stuck on out of bounds here. This is, yeah. This isn't actually RNG, but it pretty much is out of the player's control whether or not you're able to get up that slope. So now I'm going to be going for red coins, and this is one of the more tedious, maybe not tedious, but like, this is one of the longer red coin stars in the game. You kind of have to go into pretty much every nook and cranny of the level. There's a lot of backtracking, a lot of swimming as well. Everything is really spread out. It's just kind of... I don't know if tedious is the right word. That was excellent. But once again, this course kind of strays from the linearity of the Bowser levels in the original SM64 and kind of lets you explore. So I have to be very careful to not fall down in here, because otherwise you fall into that water and it takes like a good minute to get back here. Thankfully that did not happen. Alright. So that 100 coins, so that red coin star is definitely not fast enough for 110 star. It takes like almost 2 minutes. It does have a lot of fun movement to it though, so I can't complain too much. And the remaining stars here are again very, very fast. Just a quick reminder, even though Mario's doing the key animation there, I don't actually have the key. I still have to fight Bowser for that. Alright, got a bit of a risky jump coming up here. That jump's actually a bit more lenient than it may seem, as long as you get a decent frame wall kick. This last one's really easy.
Just letting you know, I've got food in the oven that's just finished, so I am going to be dipping for like half an hour or so I can eat it, and then I will let you know when I'm back.
Alrighty, thank you for letting me know.
No worries.
And that's all the stars in there, but again, I still have to fight Bowser and actually get the key. Thankfully, reaching Bowser can be done in a matter of seconds in this stage. Yeah, the pipe's just there. I had passed by it earlier when getting the red coin star. And then for this Bowser fight, it's pretty similar to the original game, but now there's fire. Alright, nice. I was able to grab Bowser without getting burned there. So I should probably explain how I'm spinning Bowser on keyboard. I'm just holding right and mashing left, and that lets you spin Bowser really quickly. It's a lot easier than just mashing all 4 directional keys at once. So, I'm going to be heading back to the first overworld now to do some cleanup. And again, since that's actually a secret course in disguise, you can just exit course from it. Normally you can't use the pause menu in overworld stages. So this is Toxic Switch of Danger, the Metal Cap course. And I know I've said throughout this run that Mario Cam is usually preferred. That is not the case for this course. If you go into Mario Cam at all, this entire level is in Toxic Gas. So if you go to Mario Cam at all, the camera just goes super high above you and it makes it impossible to see anything. So you have to contend with a really bad Lakitu cam here. Fortunately, this is a very small and compact level, so the stars here are, again, really, really fast, even the red coin star. Alright, I'm gonna attempt another tech skip here. Oh, or not. That's okay, I can attempt it on a different star. Getting the tech skip for this star is actually relatively hard. Alright, I might be able to get it here. Nice. So that's the old strat for doing the tech skip there. So that is what the camera does if you attempt to go into Mario Cam here. It just goes like really, really high above you. So again, you're kind of just forced to stay in Lakitu Cam the entire time, which is not that much better. Yeah, very fast-paced level overall. And we are 46 minutes into the run, and I'm finally going to be doing course 1. I had to put this course off until later because getting all the stars here actually requires the wing cap. Once again, I'm going to be starting off with coin collecting. Alright, I only need one of those Bob-omb coins. I guess technically you don't really need any of them. Thankfully, most of the 100 coin routes in this hack don't rely too much on enemy RNG, but there are a few exceptions. Trust me, we will get to those. This is actually one of the faster 100 coin stars in the game as well. It's not fast enough to be in 110 star, unfortunately. I did not want to bounce off that fly guy.
Here we go! Woohoo! Here we go!
Alright. This is not how you're intended to climb up here. There's a purple switch inside there that makes blocks appear. In the Extreme Edition version of this hack, you're actually required to get up there like that. The concept for this star is kind of interesting. You kind of have, this box is super, super high up, so you have to start your flight from a high location. And it just so happens that the top of that tower works nicely. You actually can reach the wing cap box just by... You actually can reach that box just by doing a triple jump flight on that top platform. So, it's pretty generous. Almost bonked there.
Here we go! Go.
Gotta do this one more time.
Here we go! Go.
I don't know if that's the intended way you're supposed to reach that block. I think you're supposed to drop to it from above, but either way, that's faster. I think with a lot of the challenges in this hack, you're kind of just supposed to figure out a way to pass the challenge, even if it's not the way Luck Lord intended for you to do it. And this is, I guess, supposed to be the first star you're intended to collect in the game. So yeah, that's course 1 done. I couldn't do this courses behind this door earlier because A, that requires 30 stars, and B, you need both the wing and vanish cap for these courses. Well, actually I think you only need the wing cap, the vanish cap. The vanish cap rarely is ever used throughout this hack. Alright. Here's a stalagmite cave. This course has a lot of really, really cool straps and movement. Yeah, this Mr. I does not want to cooperate. Killing Mr. Eyes is incredibly difficult. It's a lot harder than you would think it is. So this is a rare case of there being a lot of enemies that you kind of have to contend with, and so a lot of coin RNG. Awesome. Who didn't see that coming? These snippets are like the absolute worst. Because their coins also just fall into the lava all the time. Very fun when you're doing the metal challenge that requires getting all the coins in this level. That worked out a lot better than I thought it would. So I do have to get a backup coin from somewhere. I think I'm just gonna get this fly guy. I could have gotten that swooper, but, you know. Sorry. I don't think it really matters which one of those Nice. I don't think it really matters which one of those I got.
Here we go!
I think I was like choking on air there for a second. That was awesome. And thankfully this is the last of these post-star text boxes.
Head goal.
So that was a huge skip I just did right there.
Here we go!
It's always really satisfying to pull off that chain of wall jumps successfully.
Head goal.
And then here's another really big skip. Oh. If I can pull it off.
Here we go!
Again, just completely bypassing intended level design. This hack has a lot of that.
Head goal. Here we go! Head goal.
So there's 2 stars in this cavern down here. This cavern, once you go into it, you can't get out. But this star has an interesting concept. You're supposed to combine both the metal and wing caps. This is not something you can normally do in the original game. If you notice, the wings on Mario's wing cap have a metallic texture. That is not exclusive to this hack. In the original SM64, again, there's no levels where you can normally combine the metal and wing cap, but if you were to do that, the wings would have that metallic texture. So I guess they... And I guess according to leaks in, like, the IQ build source code or whatever, Snowman's Land was supposed to have the metal and wing caps. At least according to the cutting room floor. Not entirely sure what use they would have had in that level, but I won't question it. And as always, ending with the simplest star. It's always nice when things are a bit more straightforward. Alright, here is Ice Crystal Tower. This is one of the harder levels in the first half of the run. It's a bit more linear in its design. It's kind of just, a lot of the stars involve climbing up this really, really tall tower. It's very easy to fall, and falls are extremely punishing. Alright.
Head goal.
So I'm gonna have a bit of a fight with King Womp here, except it's on a very, very tiny pillar. This fight is quite difficult. You basically have to fight him using that clip, by clipping through him like that. And when I clip back through him, you need to do it at just the right time. Otherwise, you'll just bonk on King Womp and fall all the way down. And it takes a really long time to climb back up. Thankfully, I got that first try.
Head goal.
So this is I think the only course in this run where I'm actually not going to be combining reds with hundreds. Just because it's slightly faster to pair reds with another star. There's a plethora of coins in this level. So it's actually fastest to pair this with the star that... It's actually fastest to pair 100 coins with the star that involves going all the way up to the top of the level, since all of the red coins are kind of situated in the bottom half. Alright, I really have to hope the spin drift doesn't knock me off. Alright, nice. And then here I'm gonna switch to a Lakitu cam because... Uh-oh. This might be bad. Okay. That was a really sketchy angle to do that long jump. So when collecting that last red coin, if you're in Mario Cam, sometimes the camera just does a complete 180 on you and goes super far away after the cutscene. So I switched to Lakitu Cam to prevent that from happening. Okay, I'm kind of tempted to try a really, really, really dumb strat that's in this level. There is like a 0% chance I actually pull it off. And I think this run still has a shot at PB, so I don't want to attempt it and then just lose time to missing it. Chat, what should I do? Should I attempt it? It's because I'd say there's like a less than 5% chance I actually hit it. Like, and honestly less than, not even less than 5%, like maybe like 1%. So I'll go ahead and get the 100 coin star while I wait for people to decide. If I do attempt it, I'm only attempting it once. Like, regardless of how good the attempt actually goes. So this 100 coin star is actually seen in 110 star as well. It's kind of odd, but it's actually a lot faster than you'd expect. So that mechanic, you've seen me use it before, but basically if you jump off of a womp's back up to 5 times, you can get additional coins. It's just not in any coin routes in the original game. Right, missing that red coin isn't too big of a deal. So it is actually possible to climb all the way up here without the wing cap. But with the wing cap, it's a lot easier and faster. Again, in the Extreme Edition version of this level, you have to climb up this tower without the wing cap. And while like half of the level is gone because it's melted. Oh, nice. And then the last of the coins just come from this blue coin switch.
Here we go! Here we go!
Alright. Nobody's saying I should or shouldn't attempt it, so because this run is decent so far, I think I'm just not going to bother attempting it, and I'll explain it. So, there is a faster strat for this last star. That's about, and when I say faster, it's like 30 seconds faster if you get it first try. But it's one of the most precise strats in the entire game. It has been done in real time. I have never done it in a full game run before. I've never even dared to attempt it. So this star is hidden underneath the starting platform, and instead of having to go all the way up here and get the wing cap for it, which is what you're supposed to do, it is possible to twirl to that platform using a spin drift on that bottom platform. It is just barely possible, though. Like, you have to be absolutely perfect in order to land on this platform. And if you don't land on it from the twirl, then you're just dead.
Here we go!
So, I just opted not to go for it. Because, even if I had gone for it again, there's like a 1% chance I would have actually hit it. That's that level done, at least. So, get in the cannon, Mario. It's actually possible to skip this cannon as well, and in fact, getting up here without the cannon is used in the 0-star category. Because there's a BLJ spot up here that you can use to skip the 10-star door. And I believe this is the first Toad Star of the run. The Toad Stars are still here. And on top of this tower is a Mips that does not attempt to run away from you. So that's another free star right there.
Here we go!
I do have to use this cannon to get back up, though. This will be the last course in this Overworld 1 here, which is actually known as Valley of the Toads canonically. So here's the obligatory desert level, Overheating Oasis. Aside from the desert aesthetic, it's kind of just more of the same in regards to the level design. Yeah, I'm just gonna get coin collecting out of the way first. I was afraid I was gonna fall off there. Alright. Oh, okay. Thankfully I didn't fall off there. That would have probably required climbing all the way back up, which would have been annoying. This is another relatively fast 100 coin star. Again, still not fast enough for 110 star.
Here we go! Here we go! Let's go!
Again, continuing the trend of small spaces having really, really poor camera work. You have to be in zoomed in. You basically have to be in zoomed in Mario Cam to get through this. Oh, awesome. You basically have to be zoomed in Mario Cam to be able to comfortably get through that tower, and even then it barely works. Also, another star that's devilishly hidden.
Here we go!
Hopefully that climb goes a lot better the second time around. I do have to climb up there for another star, because that was pretty embarrassing.
Let's go!
That went much better.
Here we go!
It's very awkward to do the platforming inside that tower, especially with the bad camera.
Let's go! Here we go!
Another simple of star there.
최고.
This star can be a little bit tricky to reach. Nice. It's always sad whenever you miss that ground pound. And then for this last star, inside this little labyrinth here, you're supposed to hit a switch to make a block appear, but why do that when you can just wall jump to it? So, I'm gonna have to get the next MIPS that spawns at 50 stars, and then after that, I'm actually going to reset the ROM, and that may seem a little bit odd to you. I'll explain it a bit more later, but basically, resetting the ROM is actually required in order to get all 151 stars in this game. So I'm gonna save and then reset, and hopefully... Okay, my life split timer did not reset, so that's good. Again, I'll explain more about why I did that once I get to Overworld 3. But before I move on, there's one more toad here. And then there's only one more course in Overworld 2 that hasn't been cleared out yet before I can move on to the third Overworld. This is Flowery Gardens. So I'm gonna start with coin collecting here again. This course is actually pretty tight on coins. There's only 110, I believe. So you do have to be a little bit stingy about it. There's also a Shellless Koopa that is just... Shellless Koopas basically have no rhyme or reason to how they run around, so it's pretty much just up to RNG whether or not I'll be able to conveniently get it. It's... Oh. Wow, it's just right there. Alright, that was actually pretty decent. Also, there's just red points in the flowers. It's actually possible to look underneath the flowers in first-person mode, which is how you're supposed to find them.
Just letting you know that I'm back.
Alrighty. Welcome back. Got good RNG from those bob-ombs there. Very easy to lose coins in the flowers. Not so much with blue coins because they're a lot bigger, but yellow coins, if they fall into the flowers, they can be really hard to find. Okay. I actually can afford to miss the coin from that chuck, yeah. That went really well. There's a lot of places to lose small amounts of time in that 100 coin star, so I'm very happy with how that went.
Here we go! 최고.
Alright, now it's time for the rest of the stars, which are... some of which are quite difficult to do quickly. Okay. Let's see if I can get this fly guy bounce here. Nice. So I believe a fly guy's behavior is mostly deterministic. So if you do the same thing every time leading up to that point, it should behave in the same way every single time, but sometimes you get kind of thrown a curveball. This star is pretty scary that I'm about to do. Very easy to mess that up and fall all the way down. Especially with how the level geometry there is situated.
Hegel.
Getting that star can be a little bit awkward.
Hegel.
We got a rematch with King Bob-omb here. And this time it's a little bit harder because the platform is, again, a lot smaller, so you don't have as much room. And there's a fire spitter here. You could theoretically use the fire spitter to make this fight a little bit quicker by getting burned to throw him, but that comes with its own risks, so I don't generally go for that. Yeah, you have to make sure you don't throw him off the platform, because that doesn't count.
Here we go.
Okay, I'm gonna do a kind of swag strat for this final star.
Hegel.
There's a, yeah, hidden cave, it kind of speaks for itself. There's basically just a wall you can pass through. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do the star the cool way. You can go up the slope, slide, and, oh hey, look at that. That's like, I'm pretty sure that's like barely slower or about the same speed as doing the star the normal way, but since this is a marathon, I thought I'd show that off. Why does it work? Your guess is as good as mine. And now we have triple-digit stars, and it's time to go to Overworld 3. Unfortunately, this is where the run takes a massive difficulty spike. The game really jumps up in difficulty starting from this point onwards. So I'm actually going to be starting with the hardest levels, just to get them out of the way. Starting with Course 14, Luminium Sphere. So, courses 14 and 15 are sort of take inspiration from the Stone Tower Temple from Majora's Mask. Where, basically, course 15 is going to be this course, but upside down. And as you can tell, it uses the Stone Tower music. And these courses really test your platforming ability. They are very, very challenging. A lot of perilous wall jumping and whatnot. Also, the camera here is really weird when you exit from these courses. It also places you directly in front of the star door for course 15, so you have to jump and kick away from the door. Otherwise, you'll just open it right away. So yeah, every single star in both of these courses is ridiculously scary and challenging. Alright, so this is not an intended route that you're supposed to go here. Alright, nice. That's quite difficult to do, because you have to control your height well enough to not go too high and accidentally ledge grab on that slope. And again, that is not the intended route for that star, but it is way faster and way easier. The intended route for that star is actually terrible. Alright, now I am going to do coin collecting. And, this is one of the scariest stars in the entire run. This star takes a bit over 2 minutes. you can die basically anywhere in the star, and it's always extremely devastating to die when doing the coins missions in these levels. And it is very easy to die, as you can imagine. You also have to contend with a lot of bad enemy placement and coin RNG as well. Alright, that coin's gonna fall off, but I don't care. I have a couple coins to spare here. So Lakitu Cam is kind of helpful for these wall jumping sections, because if you're in Mario Kingdom and you do these like long wall jumps, the camera tends to go underneath you, and it's very difficult to judge what you're doing at that point. Sniping that fly guy is always so satisfying. Here's where the star gets terrifying, because it's at the very end. So I got a lot of coins throughout the first half of this star so that I could basically just skip everything there. Okay. We should be good now. Again, this star is just nightmare fuel in regular runs. Glad to have that out of the way. This level is just hard to navigate in general.
Here we go!
So the remaining 3 stars here are still not easy at by any means, but at least they don't come with a potential 2-minute time loss. Wow, I just completely mistimed that. That was entirely on me.
Mamma mia!
Keep in mind, you have a 5-frame window to wall kick. And I was just way too early there. At least it's a pretty fast death. This part's really just terrifying. I don't really have any good advice for that wall jumping section other than you just have to hope you can land properly when doing that series of wall jumps, because the camera does not help you there at all. So here I have to wall jump between these sets of boxes. You actually want to intentionally delay your wall kicks there, because if you get first frame wall kicks, then you actually get pushed downwards by the boxes, and it's very hard to recover when that happens. Okay, One more star left in this terrifying place. And then we get to go to another terrifying place. Alright, I will gladly accept that. I had one relatively minor death, but that level can go a lot worse than it did. So I'm very pleased with how that went. But now I have to do Ombre Sphere. Most of the stars here are pretty short. Navigating this level is generally harder than Luminium Sphere, but thankfully a lot of the stars can just be reached from the very beginning. So there's not a whole lot of like actual navigation that needs to be done. But the 100 coin star here is still really terrifying, and there's still a couple of really, really difficult strats. So it's actually possible to skip a couple of these jumps when going around this building, but it doesn't save that much time and it's challenging, so I don't usually go for it. You can just jump directly to the star instead of having to go all the way around. Okay. So at this point, I would be able to enter the third Bowser stage without having to clip past the final star door. And you actually will be seeing the Bowser stage here shortly. Okay, this star sucks. So there's a platform over here that just has 5 secrets on it. That's the easy part. Getting to the star is the hard part. And this is not how you're supposed to do it. That would have landed a lot better if I didn't die. So I believe Frame Perfection actually found this strat that I'm about to use here. It's a bit easier than doing the star the normal way. And it's about the same speed, if not a couple seconds faster, but it's just really, really dumb. Again, this is not the intended way you're supposed to go at all for that star. Okay, so now we get to do one of the scariest stars in the entire run, Ombre Sphere coin collecting. And it was actually important that I do the first 4 stars before doing this one. Because there's actually a wing cap that spawns when you've collected the first 4 stars, and I'm going to use that in this 100 coin route. You actually intended to use it for star 5 as well, but I'm going to try to skip it. Keyword there being try. So again, this level is even more of a pain to navigate than Luminium Sphere. The route here is a little bit convoluted and messy, but it works out nicely. I'm gonna skip these 5 coins. I want to make sure I can get them later. And we have another annoying wall jumping section where I have to switch to Lakitu Ham to make it easier. Now we get to the really scary part. Not quite yet, though. Once I get the wing cap, it's gonna get terrifying. Okay. Really hoping this goes well. Okay. So, I do have to contend with the wing cap timer here. It's pretty generous, but I still have to be pretty quick. I also have to be careful here to not get shot by any of these snuppets. Usually they aren't a threat. I have to make a turnaround here, grab at least one of these coins. And I happen to grab exactly one of them. Alright. I gotta fly all the way back there where I left that line of 5 coins. Okay. Again, I will definitely accept that.
Here we go! Here we go!
Okay, so I just have 1 star left here, and I will either get it first try or blow all of my remaining lives attempting it. Because there's another really, really stupid strat to get this star without the wing cap.
Go!
Nice. That is way harder than it looks. But it does save a significant amount of time, so it's definitely worth going for. Alright, the sphere levels went way better than I expected, honestly, but we still have to do Bowser's Crystal Palace. And this course is another massive gauntlet. So there are 6 stars here, and all 6 of the stars, most of the stars require navigating a decent chunk of the level. There's a lot of ways you can kind of cheese this level, but unfortunately not many of them are applicable to 151 star. Oh, there are a couple cool strats still. For this first star, I'm gonna go over here. Nice. That's 1 down. So the red coin star here is sort of... The red coin star here is a very big point in the run here. There are 16 red coins in this level. And to get all the red coins, you pretty much have to go through the entire intended path of the level. And there are so many places to mess up and die. Also, the first 8 red coins give weird sound effects, because it's just loading the sound effects before the red coin sound effect in the game's code. So, because obviously levels weren't intended to have more than 8 red coins. There's actually only 1 red coin sound effect in the game's code. I think it just increases in pitch for every red coin collected. Oh, okay. That was scary. So I'm pretty sure you were supposed to play through this act with save states. Because, yeah, you can probably tell. Okay, so that's the first half done. The first half's not that bad, aside from that switch block section, but it's when we get to the second half that things get very scary. So the concept of this level is actually kind of cool. You're supposed to go through the first half, get the shell, so that you can go through the left path, because all of this is quicksand. And then once you complete both paths, then you can unlock a cannon that lets you get to the end of the level. That was really sad. I just missed the window to wall kick there because of bad depth perception. That Hippo section is by far the hardest part, and the scariest part. So that just lost me probably like a minute and a half. Really unfortunate. I have to redo all of that now. I'm pretty sure in my first ever run of this category, this star took me like over 30 minutes. It's really hard. And especially when under the pressure of being in a full game run, and you kind of have to do it near the end of the run. It's really unfortunate that it's so late into the run, but that's just the way it is. Again, the end of this run has just a massive leap in difficulty from the first half, which was already really hard.
해고.
Made it through the first half again. See if we can get it this time. Okay. I think I'm gonna try to play it a little bit safe here because I've already died once. And I really don't want to die again. Okay. I'm gonna wait for the Steve mode again, just for safety. At this point in the star, it's really better to just prioritize safety over going fast. Especially this section coming up here. This is just nightmare fuel. Okay, we're good now, I think. Rest of the stars a bit easier, thankfully. Okay. Unfortunate that that death happened, but I'll accept second try. Yeah, I think I'm gonna open the cannon. So you don't have to open this cannon, there is a way to skip it, but I'm just gonna open it for safety. Okay. Alright, we'll take it. Still 4 stars left in that level, by the way. Thankfully, none of them are quite as annoying as the red coin star. And there's still some cool strats I can show off. Alright, I'm gonna attempt to show off the cannonless strat here. So, this lets you skip the cannon, and in the any percent categories, this actually saves like 2 minutes. Saves like 2 minutes in the any percent categories. Also, that's another thin pathway skip. That one almost failed. So I believe that's, under normal conditions, a little bit faster than taking the cannon, even though I opened it, so I'm going to try to do it for stars that require going through there. Okay. The camera doesn't really help either, but thankfully there's a few good setups to make that a little bit easier. So I have to go There's a little hidden alcove here with the wing cap, and that lets me get one of these stars here way faster. So, shoutouts to this strat for getting this star. None of the other runners of this category knew about this. I knew about it for a long time from a random, not a Let's Play, but someone who had done a save stateless walkthrough of this game. I think it was Landy25N showcased that strat, which is slightly faster than the strat runners were previously using. And nobody in the community knew about this until I brought it to their attention. So I'm gonna go through the right path now. I'm gonna attempt to show off a cool lava boost skip here. It saves just a little bit of time. But it's quite tricky, because health management is very important. You have to long jump through that heart so that you can get a lot of health from it. For those who don't know, the faster you run through a spinning heart, the faster it spins, and so it refills your health for longer. I'm kinda tempted to go for that strat again on the next star, but I'm not very good at this strat, so... I suppose I can give it a shot. I'll attempt this once. If I don't manage to get the star this way, there's an easier way for me to get it. That's a little bit slower, but when you're at this point in the run, consistency and safety is your best friend. Okay. So in this room, there's an alcove that has a star in it. It's just right there. This is very hard to get into. Okay. So that's all the stars in there. I obviously can't fight Bowser quite yet, because I still have 31 stars to go. There is, however, one more thing I can access from here. So, this star that I'm about to collect is intended to be the 151st star. It's supposed to be like the super ultra hidden star. It doesn't really matter when you get it though. You don't have to get it as star 151, so I'm just gonna get it now, and that failed. And let me just say, this star is an absolute nightmare to get the intended way. Thankfully, I do not have to do it like that, but, it's bad. Alright, I'm gonna use the cannon this time, because I already failed it once. So, this is how you're supposed to get through there. Okay. So you're supposed to grab the wing cap that I showed earlier, and then just fly underneath the level, get a ton of speed, shoot upwards, and then hope you can find this hole. That's where the pipe is. But that's dumb. So I'm gonna use backwards long jumping instead. It is a miracle that this strat works. Nice. So, it doesn't really save much time over the intended path, but it is way, way easier. So, yeah, this is the castle grounds from the original game. It's kind of a little bonus area. You're supposed to get on top of the castle without the cannon. Also, there's Yoshi. I will not be talking to him. So yeah, I actually have to get all the way on top of the castle here. I don't want to fall into the Black Room of Death or die. Those would both be very, very bad here. So there's a pipe on top of here, and it takes you here. So this is actually underneath the Secret Course Champions Challenge. So I'll actually respawn out of that level when I collect that star, and I can re-enter it and get the main star there. Also, I hope your left ear enjoys the music in this level. So this is just kind of a big obstacle course of platforming. So we're done with all that, and now it is time for the worst level in the entire game. Sunny Bitch, or Sunny Beach, sorry. I had to. This level is terrible. Why? The 100 coin star. This level has exactly 100 coins in it. So yeah, if you miss a single coin, I actually came very close to missing that last blue coin there. That blue, even in a task, the task just barely can get all those blue coins in time. So yeah, if you miss a single coin, you cannot get the 100 coin star. And Lugmalord went out of his way to make this 100 coin star as annoying as possible. Because we have a bunch of bullies here. There is a single patch of lava that you have to transport every single bully to. Some of them for quite the distance, and if any of the bullies fall into the water, you're screwed. So you gotta be really careful about that. So prepare for a lot of this. Yeah, this star is just terrible. It's the main reason why 151 stars an annoying category to run. And again, you kind of have to do it super late into the run. Okay, I'm gonna wait for the skeeter to move. There's also a lot of annoying enemies, and coin RNG is very annoying, especially when the coins fall into the water. Okay, I gotta try to load this fly guy over here. So now I get to do that again, but for even longer this time with this bully. Most of this level is actually pretty easy, it's but the 100 coin stars enough to make the entire thing just horrible. So, who's ready to do all that again? Because wasn't it so much fun the first time? I don't really like that bully's position. It's a little closer to the water than I would like, but I should be okay now. You can actually transport both of those bridge bullies at once and save a bit of time by doing that, but it's really, really risky. So, I just don't bother. Most runners don't. Yeah, this star takes like 6 minutes, so we will be here for a while. Okay. Most of the hard parts are done now, at least. But so, the rest of the star is probably just going to be me complaining about how terrible this star is. It's pretty much unanimous that this is the worst star in the game. And one of the worst 100 coin stars in all of SM64 ROM hacks, if we're going to be honest. Still have a few more bullies to take care of. You gotta be careful with these guys, because there's a little pit down here with the red coin, and you don't want the bullies to fall in there, because then they can't get out. Okay. I'm gonna try to transport both of these bullies at once. Can get double hits on these bullies, but it requires decent positioning. Alright, here's a prime example of just how evil this 100 coin star is. On top of everything else we've seen already, there is a box here. It's just hidden right here. It has 1 coin in it. Gotta love that. Alright, this is the last bully in the level, and I'm gonna go ahead and knock it all the way down here, so I can take care of everything that's up here first. Alright. So, I haven't missed any coins so far, which is good. Let me get rid of these 2 Goombas now, so they don't get in my way when I'm doing the last bit of bully transportation. We're almost done, I promise. Don't believe there is a risk of the coins falling into the lava once the bullies have been killed. And there you go. That is every coin in the level. It is really, really obnoxious. But at least it's over. And the rest of the stars are a bit more... The rest of the stars were a bit tamer, thankfully. Alright, so this shortcut here doesn't really save that much time over going the normal way, but it looks cool, so gotta attempt it. And there's just a big bully fight in here. Not sure why the bullies are in this level as opposed to in regular lava level, but it works. Nice. You need a decent amount of height in order to get that series of wall jumps to work out, right? And again, it doesn't save that much time over the intended route. It saves like maybe a second or 2. Also, the star names do not help you at all in this level. I think they just all kind of switched around. Here's a 5 secret star. How do you know where the secrets are? You don't. You just kind of have to find them. Okay, that's bad, but thankfully I can use this fly guy to back it up. If it'll come over here. Okay, here's another way of doing this jump. That's a little bit more unwieldy, especially on keyboard. Alright, and in order to skip reclimbing all the way up to get to the top of that hut, I'm gonna use this crazy blocks. Oh, maybe. So I can dive with it down here, and then that'll give me enough distance and height to make it up here. So this switch is not a block switch. It actually opens a gate elsewhere in the level. I'm gonna try to... Okay, I already failed. I'm gonna try to get over here with as little swimming as possible. So after this course, the difficulty tones back down a little bit. I think it would be ideal to actually do these harder courses later, just for routing, but I prefer to do them earlier just to get them out of the way, because they're really, really hard. Not to say that the rest of the run is easy, per se, but... That was an 18-second gold. So we got 3 more courses to clear out, starting with Swampy Spring. So this first star, if you remember way back when I reset the game, this star is actually Y. When you enter course 6, for some reason, this is a problem with a lot of older ROM hacks, it causes objects with waypoints to basically just break. And so if I hadn't reset the game after entering Stalagmite Cave, which is the course that causes it in this hack, then Koopa the Quick would just never finish the race, and I would never be able to get the star. And the only way to fix that is by resetting the game. Also, he can just kind of walk up walls, hence Koopa the Cheater. So for the 2 of the red coins here, you're actually supposed to push up blocks in place, but you can reach them with wall jumps. That one's a bit harder. You kind of have to go off the side wall. Pretty much all the red coins are on the bottom layer here, but I still have to go up to the top to get 100. We just have a random pile of boxes here. Not the greatest coin RNG I've seen. I gotta get a blue coin switch up here. I need to get 1 coin from these Goombas over here. Nice. Not much to say about that. Okay, for the remaining stars, I have to actually climb up on those, like, walkways and pillars and whatnot. And, very easy to fall on any of these stars, which is very punishing, because you have to climb all the way back up. Okay, so there's actually a heave-ho up here that's on a cycle, and because I messed that up, I'm gonna do this star instead. Again, not sure how you're supposed to find this on your own. I guess it's a bit easier to find that one, because you might notice those ledges sticking out of that wall there. Let's see if I can actually make the cycle this time. Nice. You need that Heave-Ho to be facing away from that small ledge when you jump to it, because it can still fling you even if you're on the small ledge. So you pretty much have to wait for the Heave-Ho to be stopped in order to make it up there.
Alright.
I can use this flag here as a little bit of a shortcut, maybe. These timed blocks are very scary. You can't ledge grab on those first two, otherwise you won't have enough momentum to make it to that third one. And depth perception is once again not your friend. So, you kind of just have to go for it and hope for the best. Happy 2 hours. Oh, okay. I don't know how I messed that up. I, didn't hold A for long enough when doing that wall kick. There is a backup. You saw this in the 100 coin star. I'm pretty sure that would have been a gold if I hadn't messed that up. Didn't lose that much time, though. Okay. So I gotta go out of my way here. There's a toad star in the back of this temple. This is the last secret star of the run. Oh, nice lag there. So I gotta use the wing cap here to get to course 12, which is Cliff of Wrath with the acronym COW, so go ahead and get your cow jokes out of the way now. This level is also a bit repetitive and linear in nature, but it's at least somewhat shorter than, like, Ice Crystal Tower. Also, great camera when exiting here. Alright. Get 100 points out of the way now. There's only a couple of scary parts in this 100 coin star, but unfortunately, they're all at the end. This level also kind of cuts it tight on coins. There's 115, I believe. I really like those 2 coins. So there's a blue coin switch up here, but there's also a King Boo up here, and King Boo, or the Big Boo, sorry. And Big Boo loves to get in your way when you're trying to get the blue coins here. But you don't want to kill him, because then the star that it spawns is right in your way. And you don't want to accidentally collect that, so you kind of have to... It's kind of a case of the lesser of 2 evils. Okay. That was a bit sketchier than I would have liked, but I made it work.
Here we go!
Also, I got a couple extra coins that I needed, but it's fine. And please do not walk off the ledge here. Okay. I did like an extra step forward after grabbing that red coin. Alright.
Here we go!
So, we're getting close to being done with stars that have scary time losses potentially attached to them. So here's a really cool strat. So you saw that vanished cap that I passed by when I was doing 100 coins. You're actually supposed to use it to get past this fire so you can break this box, but you don't need it. It's possible to just kick above the fire and cut into and break the box that way.
Hegel.
You can actually skip that first pillar, but it's really, really tight and doesn't save much time, so hardly anybody goes for it and runs.
Here we go!
It's kind of hard to find where the pipe is when having to re-enter it because of the camera, so it's easy to lose a couple seconds trying to re-enter the level. I sort of have a setup, but it doesn't always work. So, the route up the mountain is a little bit convoluted. There actually is a skip here that would be useful for this star, but I don't know how to do it, so I'm not going to.
Here we go! Hegel.
So, I mentioned that I'm playing on the fixed warps version. So in the non-fixed warps version, Cliff of Wrath is one of the worst levels, because you have to go all the way up to the top of that main tower, and then grab a wing cap and use it to fly to that level every single time you want to re-enter the course. Thank goodness they patched that out. Just like how in Overworld 1, every single time you want to go to Overheating Oasis, you have to take the cannon. So, boos don't really make sense in a level like this, but I guess it works.
Here we go!
Alright. And now we just got one more main course. So this is going to be Molten Treasure Chest. Alright. This first star I'm going to go for is really hard, especially with the strat I'm doing. Alright, I get it. That's fine. There's a backup here. So you see what I'm supposed to do. You have to fly into that cave with enough speed in order to shoot up really high and then reach that star. It's annoying. But again, thankfully there's another star in there that I could get as a backup. Now I have to get it though. And I don't really have a convenient backup if I miss it this time though. Uh-oh. That's bad. Frame walking. I used pausing there in order to, I used pausing there in order to allow me to buffer an A press so that I could start picking out the stuff and didn't have to keep frame walking. There's a secret star in this level that I'm gonna get now. I should have enough wing cap left for this. In 110 star, you actually pair 100 coins with this secret star, but in this category, I'm going to pair it with reds.
Here we go!
Alright, really hoping I can get that star this time. It's not that difficult, it's just kind of precise.
Tego!
Third time's the charm, right? There we go. Yeah, that's what you gotta do.
Here we go!
Again, it's really not that hard, I just kept messing it up. It's easy to mess up, that's really what it's all about. I'm gonna do 100 coins with reds. So this course has 255 coins. That's a lot. In fact, if there were just one more coin in the level, it wouldn't be able to save your coin score. So yeah. Coin collecting here is very, very generous. Getting the red coins does take a little bit of flying around, though. But once you get to this point, it really speeds up. Because there are 2 blue coin switches in this course that just give you a crap ton of blue coins. Nice. I don't need all of them here. Okay, I think I can skip out on that line of 5. Okay, that's... Okay. I probably shouldn't have skipped out on that line of 5, but whatever. I just got 3 left to go now. Okay, I'm gonna be safe and grab the 100 coin star before dropping down for that red.
Here we go!
Because it is possible to get caught underneath that structure when trying to get this red, and you just get stun locked into death by the lava. I like how I missed the star. I like went over it with the lava boost. That's all the coin collecting stars.
Tego!
Not much to say about these last 2 stars, really. For this one, you kind of have to do a very, very specific flight to this cave. Okay, that is actually a lot tighter than it may look because ceiling hitboxes extend further down than they appear visually. Alright, 1 more star. And I should probably mention that this is PB pace.
Tego!
And PB pace by like a couple minutes. So, hopefully I can clutch this out. Because I believe my last PB in this category was from like 2023. Right. So I need that cannon in order to get this star, because it's just really, really high up.
Here we go!
If I have a really, really good ending split here, I can PB by... I could get like a 214. So, I think I'll go for the cannon skip. I probably shouldn't, considering, you know, I don't want to choke PB at the very end here, but... yeah, I'll give it a try. final Bowser fight is a little bit different. As you can see, the arena's already star-shaped, and there's some added fire. I really suck at Bowser throws, so I'm probably gonna miss a ton of them here. Alright, that's one. That should be two. Okay. Ah! I was like 1 or 2 frames too late on that one. That's 3. That's like a 2-minute PB. Who would have thought? My PB in this category was very improvable, so I'm not that surprised. But yeah, time's gonna be when I touch the final Grand Star, so get ready on that. And time. So, for me, the in-game time was a 2:14:47, so I lost like 14 seconds in lag throughout the course of that run. But yeah.
Yeah, it's 2:15:02 RTAs on ours.
Yeah, that's about what it says on my end as well, because I also have a real-time timer. But yeah, there you go. That is Super Mario 74 151 star. Glad I got to show this category off. This is actually the first time I've ever done this particular category in a marathon, so even with the sad death on Bowser's Crystal Palace Reds, I'm really happy with how that went. So, yeah, thanks for letting me show this off, and I will be back in just a little bit, maybe, I don't know.
Well, that's entirely up to you. If you want to do pack and roll remix, I'm quite happy for you to do that.
I mean, I'm a little bit rusty. I haven't
run
run the game in a while. I'm a little bit rusty, so I'd be a little bit rusty.
We've got the time for it. I mean,
well, I've already conditioned you guys to think that I'm going to. So yeah, I'll be back in just a little bit with PNRR.
Cool. In that case, the next run will be pick and roll remix. I will edit it on the schedule because I have put this may be skipped in the category, but we are going to showcase that in just a moment. We're just going to do the setup for it and all that stuff. But before we do so, don't forget we added this as a charity event. There were no donations during that run, sadly. However, if anybody does want to donate, if you type !donate in the chat on Twitch, or there's a link down in the description on YouTube as well, then you can go and donate that way. That'll take you to the donation page. There are no more incentives to donate to. However, obviously donations will go to everyone can, subject to a 10% cut that we do retain at InstaSpeedathon to cover running costs of the event. But the total you see on screen is the total that will eventually be donated to everyone can once all the processing and stuff has been done on in the background. The total you see on screen is the total we will be donating to everyone can, and that total currently stands at £89, which is absolutely incredible. But if we keep those donations coming in, I want to see it at triple digits if we can. Hopefully by the end of the day, but certainly by the end of the marathon, I want to see us donating triple digits to everyone can, because they do such fabulous work and they do help a lot of people out. They have a gaming centre in Manchester and they host gaming sessions and stuff, so your donations really do go to a fantastic cause. In any case, we will be back in about 5 minutes time. I will put the intermission screen on so that we can do so we can set up the next run, and the next one is going to be Pack and Roll Remix Any Percent by Super Viper T302. So we'll go over to that in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, and real quickly, I'll explain why the game screen is black here. So normally the Course 4 portion of the credits shows the interior of the slide in Cool Mountain, but since Course 4 in this game doesn't have a sub-map, it's unable to load it, and so the credits just crashes. So, yeah, that's... Alright.
Yeah, the stream crashing midway through the run, I think it was game lag as opposed to
I have a local recording, so we can use that.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair enough. Because I don't think it froze on my end. I think it was actually lag on Viper's end. But again, no problem at all on our side. It seemed to be okay on
Alright, well, I'll be back in just a few minutes.
Alright then, well, in that case, we'll go to the intermission screen and we will go and set up for Pack and Roll Remix.